While I certainly, Commissioner Bolton, I hear you, I respect you, I understand the balance you're looking to strike, but I know my limitations. That Captain David Franks, at the end, he's an employee of the sheriff. He's an at-will employee, as I am. And the sheriff is within his rights if he chooses to promote him, just like happened to Captain Sermonello, who is now Colonel Sermonello, right? If he loses faith in him and he chooses to terminate him, if for some reason Captain Franks decides that he hits 25 years and wants to retire, which he's never indicated to me that's his plan, those are common steps in any organization: promotion, demotion, termination, or separation through retirement. There's nothing in here that would be abnormal. The city, if it has an internal process that it wants to be included in the vetting of candidates, that can be accomplished through another avenue. But this is a very good contract, and I would implore you to consider moving it forward and not let perfect be the enemy of good. It is a good contract. I cannot agree to that one provision. We had a lot of dialogue about that with the city attorney, and we added in there that language: prior to the removal of the district chief in the city, the sheriff or his designee shall provide reasonable notice to the city manager of the upcoming action to ensure that we are communicating. The manager can communicate to this body whatever his decisions are, or this body can require of the manager to bring forth candidates to be confirmed. But contractually, this is the form that the sheriff is comfortable with, and I just have to communicate that. But I would really implore you to not let this one item be the reason that we don't move forward on ensuring that this contract moves forward, that public safety is solidified in this community, and that we can continue our long-standing 36-year relationship.
But Major, we're not saying that the captain, the sheriff, should change his list. We're not saying that, and I never said that. The list still stands. He has the ability to promote in rank, demote, discipline, support in retirement. He has all of that. We never said to change any of that. All I asked is to add an additional point, which is and that would be on recommendation of the majority of the city commission. So I understand, as a preacher as well, the emotional effect, of your presentation.
Can I ask you a point of clarification, Commissioner?
Yes.
When you say adding with the majority vote of the commission, are you saying that the majority vote of the commission confirms that the sheriff's decision is confirmed?
No.
Can you explain what you mean?
So under this agreement, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all of those provisions that the sheriff has. I'm saying we should add a provision I, that says on the recommendation of majority of the city commission, which means that now we have the ability to remove a captain. And for protection purposes, we're saying that if the sheriff exercised his discretion to remove this captain, then on page 10, an incoming captain should not be arbitrarily chosen by the city manager. That captain should be chosen by majority of the city commission. That's the crux of what I said.
So, Commissioner, if I can respond to you, Mayor, if it's okay.
But you already did on page 11, where you said it's already in there.
I understand what you're saying now. Maybe I misunderstood you. I think that's a city policy issue, not a vendor contract issue. So, Commissioner, I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I think that you have an avenue within your charter that if that was the body's consensus, that the manager would bring that conference to this body. In my past experience, I had that happen in one occasion with my own position. If this body lost faith in the district chief and consensus was communicated to the manager, then the manager would then exercise the city's rights and provisions. So what I believe is that you already have that within your rights and within your city charter and policy. It's just a matter of consensus amongst the body.
Major, we've gone through interims and interims and interims. And before this captain, I think we had 2 interims, and one showed up, hey, I'm here, I'm happy to help you with the same song and dance that you have. And then the next day he was gone. And you might have the same song and dance, and tomorrow you might be gone. Because that's the temperature and that's the climate under which you're employed as an at-will employee. So I hear what you're saying, but all of this is to protect you and her and all of the men and women in green that I support and honor every single year
Well,
in
at
this
this
city.
point, you've made your points of why you want it. We're not going to be trying to bully or knock people into other positions. We've beat this one
Use
up,
any adjective you want.
and we are basically going to go back to asking Commissioner Wright if he is willing to accept the friendly amendment. That's where we stand right now.
No,
And
Madam
then-
Mayor, I do not accept it.
Okay, so basically, we're going to call the question as is.
And
There is not, there's no discussion further. There's no discussion further.
And if he does not accept the friendly amendment, we have the ability
I'm going
to
to say
vote.
that if you let me
We have the
finish my
ability
sentence.
to vote no on this agreement.
Yes,
And
Commissioner.
then make a separate motion to adopt the
Commissioner.
agreement with changes.
And if you would let me finish what I am saying, you would have heard that. We will vote on this item. If it passes, it passes. If it fails, then we bring it back with whatever modified motion is desired.
Point of
City-
clarification.
Okay.
City
we'll sleep
Attorney,
with it.
Yes.
hearing what we desire, what are the options to getting it done, and what is the best option? So if there's option A, B, C, which one is the best option?
You can only give
With
legal advice.
respect to the contract, at the end of the day, the commission has to make the call what they're comfortable with. And option, obviously the contract has expired. We've been operating on month to month based on the previous contract. If this body, I think this body wants BSO as a police service provider, they have, if the majority wants some modification, we could go back to the drawing board with BSO and see if that could happen based on, I raised those same point in our private meetings. I think the major could, but now he's hearing it from obviously the elected officials, and he can take it back to his leadership, and they could say yay or nay. We can find a compromise that may be acceptable. So it's up to the commission to make the decision. Either
So that's just option A?
option, you want option A?
That's what I
Option-
asked for, options.
Options, if you believe that the contract terms was negotiated and it provide, some of the, rectify some of the issues and concern based on past experience, you could vote it as is. If you don't believe the contract has not addressed some of the past experience with respect to notice, communication, with respect to district captain,
I was more asking you option as in, because we know what we want a voice,
yeah. And,
right?
and-
So options regarding the voice, not regarding the vote.
Yeah, well, I believe if this is, the modification being requested by Commissioner Bowen would give more voice, more say-so, okay? Which, at the end of the day, BSO has to have a meeting of the minds with the city on those issues. Because you have, an entity that also has a right over his or her employees, but you also have the city paying 25 million or 23 million who wants to say, hey, if we're paying you that much, we want to have a voice, a stronger voice. So where's the compromise, basically?
My point of clarification,
and-
City
and-
Attorney, we can basically be able to legally proceed with the contract and bring it back with the other option of discussing how the city commission and the city manager work on this particular item. Is that another item that could be given as on that list of things that could be done?
And Madam Mayor,
No,
that's what I.
because Commissioner Wright,
No,
Commissioner
no,
Wright
it's
denied
outside.
that.
It's a procedure.
No, Commissioner Wright denied that procedurally.
No,
So the
no,
only-
no, he did not.
He did
Commissioner
not accept
Bolton-
the friendly amendment. So the only thing procedurally that we can do now to have a voice in this agreement is first vote no on this contract.
Commissioner
and
Bolton,
then-
your point
and
has
then
been
hear-
made. We're
And then
done.
hear a vote again and vote yes with the changes.
Commissioner Bolton,
I just
we-
want my colleagues to understand
You know what?
that.
We have talked about this in our procedures and our policies and our anti-bullying and trying to not force people to have to think the way one person wants on this dais.
You know what?
That
I
is
am-
why we
I
have done our
embrace all of your
7 minute.
adjectives.
So
So go ahead.
I'm going through that was the policy that we set. Now I'm going to finish my comment. Vice Mayor Daniel asked, what are the options we have to be able to have a louder or bigger voice at the table? The option that was provided was to go back and have us renegotiate this contract, have a contract, by being month to month, have a contract, and then try to renegotiate the contract. The other option that is not being put on the table, that should be put on the table, is we go forward with a contract that has been negotiated and discussed, and probably at this point ad nauseum, that we then have our own meeting with our city manager, then we discuss our internal procedures for the process, whichever should happen again, where we are either going to lose our chief for whatever reason. You're not allowed to retire anytime soon. We're not going through this again. Then we can decide that then at a workshop, at a meeting where we can discuss the procedure versus putting it into a contract that already has given us some voice and notice. That's the third option, correct, City Attorney?
That's the option, again.
Okay, thank you. That's all the
again-
Vice Mayor asked for.
Again, Vice Mayor, you could vote it as is, or you could vote it based on the
Right.
recommendation.
I understand the vote, so based on the option you gave, the option the mayor gave, I say we do both.
We do
We do both. Yeah.
both in terms of,
In terms of, we workshop a meeting regarding communication and procedure moving forward, hiring any leadership staff, right? Not just BSO, because
but remember,
I'm not,
Dr.
I
Mann-
said communication. I know I said
the
communication.
contract with BSO will control everything if it's approved. I just want to make sure.
Exactly.
The
Right.
contract calls for
It will-
communication
it will
to the city
control
manager.
Everything. So a contract is a contract. And if it's approved.
I get that. That's why I said both.
Yeah, but we can't do both. If we
Well, okay, I'm calling the question.
If we approve the contract as it is now, then we have a contract, we have to stick by
City
it.
Attorney, do you ever want to jump in on the procedures in this place?
Mayor, I have already jumped in. In fact,
It was my clarification. I'm trying to be clarified. So I said both. We hold off on this contract, bring it back to whomever makes the decision,
okay,
right? And then, as a body, we need to figure out the communication method regarding hiring people who are in charge.
okay. So let me make sure, hold off means deferred item?
Are you doing a motion to table?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure, because if that is, then we're,
Could I have
I'm ready
maybe
to
10
vote.
seconds to respond to the Vice Mayor, maybe to try to help?
sure.
Vice Mayor Daniel, I understood your question. To your point, it is possible to vote on the contract in its current form and to continue the services today and simultaneously, parallel path, have a meeting with the city manager to discuss the internal city policies with the city commission being involved to accomplish the same thing that Commissioner Bolton is hoping for, majority consensus on confirming or removing a district chief. And that's the path that I would implore this commission to consider at this moment.
Yeah, and I get that. I think we lose power once again, though, once we go that path.
Yes.
That was my only reasoning to say, let's see where this brings us.
I stand here on behalf of Sheriff Dr. Gregory Tony. I know my limitations. I know that Captain David Franks is a BSO sheriff employee, and that right is going to be reserved. However,
I agree. I have nothing with
Yeah.
Frank, and you're excellent job, so nothing with you as well.
So if the city wishes to be involved in the confirming or the removing of the district chief, the city's charter already has an avenue for that. The contract, however, it says that the mechanism is the manager, but then your charter can direct the commission, if it so wishes, to be a part of that management of this contract. But I know that as far as the provisions in the contract, that would not be agreed upon.
And I get that. I get what you're saying, and that makes sense to me, but that's not what has been happening.
We can't go with what has been happening.
But
The
that's
point-
more of a question for the manager and
Right, right. So we're calling the question right now, the point being that we have just been advised, if we don't agree to the contract as is, I don't even know if we're in month to month, we're in termination, is that correct?
it's month to month.
Where in the contract do we have month to month in here?
It's just by practice, your contract would be to a month to month unless notice was served. But again, our hope is this is a very good contract. I would implore you not to let perfect be the enemy of
It
very
can be
good.
better. It's good.
So-
It can be better.
Basically, we will be out of contract if we don't vote on this. Understood, but we remain out of contract on this item. We are being told on good authority, as authority is vested in you, that the provisions being asked for will not be approved, but being asked to go back to the table again to ask for the same thing that has not been approved in the hope that pressure will allow it to be approved is really probably not going to happen. Is that correct?
Well, Mayor, just to that point, this was already discussed. Your attorney already had brought it up that this was an item that was discussed when we met privately. I already brought that item back. I already know the answer. I know my limitations. I'm very amenable. I love this city. Like I told you, I grew up in this city with my mother, and this city means a lot to me. I'm committed to this contract. I'm committed to you and to these residents. This is a very good contract. I would strongly urge you to affirm it and then to work out any internal procedures with the manager separately.
City manager.
Madam Mayor, would you be amenable to recognize Chief Jurga for a
I've
minute?
wanted to. Come on up. You go over there. You're part of the team. Thank you. Sorry, Major.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor. Good afternoon, Commission. Good afternoon, residents. I'm going to be very short. My name is Larry Juriga. I work as a police consultant for the City of Tamarac. I live in the City of Weston. This is a very good contract for the City of Tamarac, for all of you and for the residents. There were a handful of things we spoke about when we first started looking at the contract after discussions with the manager and the city attorney. Focus was going to be on increasing visibility of the law enforcement officers, enhancing traffic safety and community engagement, and improving communication. Again, I'll state it, improving communication and ensuring accountability. Commission, this is a very good contract, and all of those things were addressed in this contract. I don't know that they've been addressed in other city contracts. The major, the captain, and the lieutenant, we brought in things left and right, and it was yes, yes, yes. A few things they paused on, and they weren't able to agree to them, but the vast majority of things were agreed upon. And again, I'll say it a third time. This is a very good contract, and it would benefit the residents, the businesses, and all of you. Contracts are written with ink and paper. Agreements are made between people. And you have 3 leaders here who are ready to work with this city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Daniel,
Lord.
Do you need Jeopardy music?
Yeah, I do. Because I want to ensure that we get what we want at the end of the day. And there's no surety I agree, the contract is good, but I do want a voice. And I've said that. I went at length with the major. Huh?
Please, you need to vote. You need to vote.
No.
Mayor Gomez,
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson,
No.
Commissioner Bolton.
No.
Motion fails 3-2.
Thank you, Major, Captain, XO, Lieutenant, and our police safety officer that we hired on our behalf to negotiate the contract with BSO for your time. I guess obviously we'll be in touch with things that are further down the line. And we are now,
I believe we want to make sure that we preserve this agreement, limited only to the discussions that we had today, the points that were made and reiterated by the city attorney. So I'd like to approve the agreement with the changes that we'd like to transmit to BSO and not having to come back if they agree with the agreement. So I'd like a second vote on this agreement, approving the agreement with the changes.
Second.
Thank you.
I'm gonna, well, it's a new motion, right? If I hear correctly, what you're asking for is that we're gonna send this back to the sheriff, the whole town, the whole department, gonna go through your legal, and if it's agreed upon, we have a contract. If it's not agreed upon, we don't have a contract.
I think that would be up to this commission.
And that's what's being asked.
Yeah, I understand the motion to
again, this is
approve the
wholly-
contract with the revisions. So the contract would be approved if the vote passed with the suggested revisions in section 10. And then you would expect me to bring that back to the sheriff, to confirm a decision. I just would like to remind Commissioner Bolton, Vice Mayor Daniel, Mayor Gomez, Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Patterson, that I've already brought that. I already know the answer. And I know, it's possible for somebody on the prevailing side to bring back the motion that failed. I would ask that you would consider that possibility of bringing back the motion that failed and moving forward with the contract in its current form, and simultaneously addressing, I'm not sidestepping Commissioner Bolton's valid concerns. Commissioner Bolton, your concerns can be addressed via the charter. Your charter gives you the language and the authority and power to consensus of this commission to be involved with the very process that you're trying to memorialize in the contract. But I know that the contract, we cannot memorialize that provision in the contract. You have to remember too, that with the favored nation clause, the Me Too clause, that would impact every other one of our cities. And that has not been agreed on with any of the cities. And so you're not just asking the sheriff to agree with the city of Tamarac on that change, you're asking him to agree to put that into every contract with every city. And every city government functions differently. Every city commission has different level of involvements. Every city manager is a different city manager. It's a different dynamic. We try, that's even the hometown police, we try to cater our mission to the uniqueness of the community, but that contract has to have some standard language, which includes this section, because of the uniqueness of our communities. So I'm just asking if you would work with me in considering the alternative path with your charter to accomplish the same thing that you want and to move on the contract in its form, because I know the answer.
And I think now he understands, or you guys understand our position, and the vote is already done. So I'd like to, for the mayor to call the question.
You have a motion second, I believe.
People, I'm not behind.
Point of clarification, Mayor. For me personally, my personal contention with how the contract was presented, Major, is simply the fact that the definitions and the terms are just not clear for me. So the provision under Section 6, and perhaps even under Section 10, by which we've been kind of back and forth about, relative to city versus city manager, I think could be cleaned up. Whereas the city does have a charter and it does have language by which we use to govern our city, that doesn't govern the contract. And I think what we're looking to do is preempt or prevent any future miscommunications between us and our marriage. So my no is relative to, or was because, I feel like the contract is not clearly defined. The terms, the definitions are ambiguous to some degree for me. So if you're saying that the sheriff is not willing to consider the proposed changes by Commissioner Bolton, are you also saying that the sheriff is not willing to consider changes that would clear up the definitions to make clear who the city is?
Commissioner Patterson, I appreciate the question, if I can respond.
Please.
So when we met with the manager and the attorney and your consultant, I believe that there is a delineation between items that are contract terms or provisions and then items that are matters of policy and direction. What I'm hearing from you, these are policy direction items. The manager in your charter has a lot of authority in the way that he manages the day-to-day operations on behalf of this body. But this body, as the mayor even said, is the board that gives that direction. Our district chief is willing to be as involved as the manager wishes him to be involved with communication. If that is communicating any needs on behalf of this city to him daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever it is, we have been amenable. If that is to communicate with the elected and to, if something occurs within your respective zones, then we are amendable to that. That is a policy item. If this body wishes to have PIO-type releases coordinated with the city, and the city commission and the manager direct us that this is the point of contact in the city that you wish for us to communicate with, we are amendable. We will do that, Commissioner Patterson.
Major.
I think that a lot of these issues, when it comes to the policy, we can work that out in a relationship and a conversation. I can help ensure that Captain Franks understands the direction and that we hold ourselves accountable to that.
Major, for the record, you and your team, with respect to clarification of language, you've been very amenable. I think, and the answer to Commissioner Patterson's question, I believe, is yes, because it's not a substantive change, it's a clarification with respect to what a term means. So I think the answer, based on my recent experience with your team, that if we have to clarify a term so no one is confused, I think your team has accepted that.
I think if you're looking at clarifying city and the definitions term, there's no reason or objection to me to clarify what city would be defined as. I just wanted to make clear, Mr. Attorney, that the policies on how that would be, the ramifications of that, the ripple effect of that, we would just need direction from your manager to the district chief on what the ripple effect of that policy changes.
That was my point of clarification, because we can change it to say city commission, city manager, city as boundaries, but if it changes what it means within the contract, that becomes material, because there's no stopping the area that there is concern for specifically saying city manager versus city, whichever the definition is, and then redefining the roles within the contract, which would be material.
But, correct, Mayor, but Commissioner Patterson, I think I understand your intent, as well as I understand Commissioner Bolton's intent. A lot of that is going to be policy-driven. So the manager, we take direction from him because there has to be a contract manager, which is your city manager. Captain David Franks is a director on behalf of the city, so he's communicating with him during his normal director meetings, staff meetings. But just like any other employee, the manager gives direction to Captain David Franks. We would march in line with that in the spirit of partnership. So if there is communication that is desirous, we can facilitate that. And I can have Captain David Franks come up here and confirm his willingness to facilitate that communication on behalf of this city and this body. All we need is the direction from the manager. And we have a good working relationship with the manager. We will make sure that we work to be amenable and responsive to his needs on your behalf.
I guess another point of clarification. Could city be misconstrued to be, I don't know, could a communication potentially go to the PIO office and never arrive to the city manager or anybody in leadership? I mean, that's my concern here. City doesn't reference anybody. It's just the organization. And so, to me, this is material. Public communication, I think, was not in the contract previously, and now that it is documented and there is language here, I think the language, the last sentence says, in an emergency situation, notification can be made as soon as possible. I just think that this language does not necessarily concretely communicate that we will be better positioned in the event of a material event in this city. So while I appreciate that the language is here, and I, really fought hard to make sure that we had some language in the contract, I don't feel like it is clear enough, because I feel like in the future there could easily be said that, well, this leaves room for error, is what I'm saying. So so what I'm asking is, can we clarify either the definitions, for me specifically, or the terms as laid in Public Communication Section 6?
I think that I have no objection to clarifying how we communicate that public communication. I will tell you from my perspective in the contract, the communication for that type of event would go directly to the city manager. And then the city manager, however his process is for communicating to the elected, he would then facilitate that communication. So for us, if something had happened that was a major event, that we felt that this body needed to be aware of, we felt a news release was going to occur, we would make sure that Captain David Franks communicated with your city manager. And then if we did that, I would feel comfortable that we did contractually fulfill our obligation. Now, the manager's going to have his own process, I believe, in place on how he communicates to this elected body. If the manager told us that he wanted us to communicate something specifically to the zone commissioner, or I'm sorry, the district commissioner, or to the elected body, then we would happily be amendable to that. We have other cities where we communicate with the elected. So that's why I'm saying I believe that's more of a policy issue. We just need direction, and we're happy to facilitate it at the will of the manager in this commission.
Vice Mayor?
So basically you're saying then, you could just change or speak what the definition of the City of Tamarac is. That's not what you're saying?
No, because the city manager has a different definition in the definitions, but what I'm saying is the manager is essentially the one who we report to in the
Right,
contract.
I get that, but I think our ask was to have a say in this whole process. You're saying that City of Tamarac encompasses all of us, right?
It encompasses you and your charter. This is why I would like to say
No. You say it's if it indeed encompass all of us, this body, the city manager, whoever represents the city manager, then can you clarify that in the definition? I think that's what.
it is, and that's
If
what
I may,
Go ahead.
Madam Mayor. So, Vice Mayor, the language is standard in all of our contracts.
I get that.
It's
I get
between
that.
two entities, one City of Tamarac City and Broward Sheriff's Office, BSO. All the other elements, details in terms of communication are detailed in there only when needed, referencing to city manager or the captain or the major or other officers of the
Right, I understand that.
In
And I don't have a problem with clarifying, he said, because different cities run different. Well, I don't have a problem with different city elected officials getting more power,
And in
because
your-
that's why they were elected.
Right, in
And not power in a bad way, power to have a voice.
Absolutely, and what I'm saying is that authority exists in the commission today, and so if that's the desire of the commission to be involved in the selection, in the ratification of the police captain, fire chief, or any other, that can be addressed on the city side outside of this contract. So
And I
change,
agree. The problem is, it wasn't. And we're talking about last month. We're talking about 2 years ago. You get what I'm saying? I agree. The problem is, it wasn't. And we're trying to ensure that it will be.
I think we're going in circles. So I think it's time to move on, but I just want to make a point of clarification with this agreement. We're entering into an agreement for police services between the City of Tamarac as an entity and Gregory Tony, PhD, as Sheriff of Broward County. We're not entering into an agreement with BSO, the organization. We're entering into an agreement with a person. That's number one. And number two, where City of Tamarac is concerned, City of Tamarac, clearly defined in the signature line as the manager and the mayor. 2 signatures. Sir, let me tell you something. I'm not a lawyer. I work with the courts every day. I understand agreements. I read completely what this is. And I think we need to move on, because if we don't, we're going to have more problems being trashed out until 7 o'clock tonight. So I think you should run with the changes that we discussed, and just go back to Dr. Tony and ask him what he's amenable to, and come back to us. Because if we have another round of conversations, this contract is going to be ripped into even more. So I think that, we respect you and Captain Franks enough to see some issues, other issues with this, but willing to turn a blind eye. And really and truly, it's 3:05 and we have a motion on the table, and I think it is time for us to call the question.
City Attorney, you wish to say something?
Just wanted to remind there's a motion second on the table, that's all.
Thank you for all the reminders. City Clerk, please
Can I
call the
make
roll.
a friendly amendment to the motion that's on, or can we clarify the motion that's on the floor, first of all?
The motion was to clarify Section 10 of the agreement to the selection of captain, subject to approval of the commission manager selection of captain. Also, with respect to Section 10, BSO discretion to remove the captain. Commissioner Bolden added Section I would be basically subject to the approval of majority of the commission also.
Commissioner Patterson, we were calling the roll. You wanted to make a friendly amendment or not?
Yes, I was going to ask if we could consider a friendly amendment to what's on the floor, and potentially, so under Section 10, would we be okay with notice? So BSO, so it currently says BSO in its sole discretion shall have the right to remove. I'm wondering if we could do BSO shall have the right to remove. So if we take out in its sole discretion, BSO shall have the right to remove. And then under Section I, the proposed Section I, that Section I be with notice to the commission or with notice to the city. So I think, because I think where the challenge is here is that we're telling BSO who's employing the employee that they can't do it without our approval, I'm guessing. If that's the intent under section I, for clarity? And I'm proposing maybe that we look at it from a perspective of whatever changes come as a result of their decision that the city is given notice.
So the commissioner, there's
This
language in there that says, the removal of the district chief from the city for any reason not specified above shall require the prior approval of the city manager, and it also requires the sheriff meet with the city manager and notify the city manager that the sheriff has lost confidence in the district chief. So there's some notice requirements in there.
Yeah, but it says reasonable notice. I mean, even that is just, again, a lot of the language in the contract, none of it is anchoring. It's all just very subjective. And when they get around to it, I think what we're aiming to accomplish here is that reasonable could be considered 6 months.
Yeah, Commissioner Patterson, I believe the purpose of Commissioner Bolton amendment to that section, and he could correct me, is to give the commission or at least a say-so when a captain is removed for any of those reasons outlined in A, B, C, D, E, or F, or G, or H. Your proposed amendment would basically said that BSO would only require to give notice. I just want to make sure that what you're proposing.
I think what could fix the commissioner's ask is add a friendly amendment to have more discussions with the consultant. Because Vice Mayor Daniel wanted to meet with the consultant as well and didn't get an opportunity. I think if you have some other ideas, you can also bring it to the consultant. I never got an opportunity to meet with the consultant as well. If there are some other things beyond what we discussed today, the consultant can talk with BSO about them and come back with not just a good agreement, but a better agreement, an excellent agreement. Don't look so mad, Pastor. We still love you.
Yeah, so you have, basically, I think what, notwithstanding the proposed amendments that are, if it's passed, the city manager and his staff can clarify or deal with some process where we can get a little more understanding of what each member of the commission want and go back to BSO. So it doesn't preclude staff from having that continued discussion with the commission on a one-on-one basis. Okay? So, Commissioner, so if you have some suggestions, we can, with the consultant, we can meet with you and we can relay those suggestions to BSO. Okay?
Commissioner Patterson?
Okay.
So you no longer want the friendly amendment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I better understand what's being proposed, and I do think that it seems like there is a request for additional engagement between my colleagues and the consultant and it seems, based on what I understand, that we will not be in jeopardy of any police services as long as safety is still priority in the city. If there are areas that we want to continue to iron through, I don't see any reason why anyone shouldn't be given that opportunity. So I would support that, and I think that, again, I think, the overarching thing here is just simply that we want to ensure that, we have the best possible contract, and for those who haven't had an opportunity to speak through their changes, I think it's appropriate. So
You
my
are
amendment,
removing?
yeah, I mean, but if it's not accepted, it's not accepted, but I was just proposing that potentially, we amend it to either, consider an evaluation by the commission prior to any changes in our chief, or, I don't know if there is, a recommendation that I mean, I'm guessing for internal affairs reasons, if the sheriff is looking to make changes in his staff, there is some confidence or some confidentiality related to that. So on some hand, I can understand where, there might be some desire for confidentiality around the decision, but I do also agree and understand that, we don't want to just be rotating chiefs. And we want to be able to hold BSO's feet to the fire and hold them accountable to not just ripping someone out of our city, arbitrarily. And so if there is no maybe I would propose a friendly amendment that we even look at, a performance
We
measure
will, Commissioner Patterson.
that can be
We
documented.
will reengage, if this passes, as we'll reengage each member of the commission and get their input, bring the consultant also, and we'll take the marching orders, okay?
Can I have a simple answer to the question? Is there a friendly amendment being requested to the motion
I think
that is on?
she withdrew it.
Not officially. Is it withdrawn, Commissioner Patterson? It's not. Don't let anybody else
You know
put
me
words in
so
the
well.
mouth. Is it?
No, the friendly, yeah, but I did make the friendly amendment, but it didn't seem like it was accepted.
No,
Co-
conversation continued to be
Commissioner-
had before it could be either
Commissioner,
accepted or not.
I can't, I could theoretically accept your friendly amendment, but what you're asking is for more negotiations. And really and truly, because there is no agreement right now, we can just simply not have a vote and just have them go back and discuss all that you're saying, what I'm saying, what the vice mayor is saying, what everybody is saying. We don't have a contract now, right? They can just go back and talk based on what we have spoken about. We don't need to vote.
Only reason I was saying, well, it was my understanding that the attorney had itemized some changes. So if the changes have been itemized and we're going to vote on those changes, then
We can go without, I know these changes. I know your comment. They heard your comment. They heard the changes. We obviously we have a motion and second. We might, we can take the direction based on those comments.
We can actually either withdraw the motion on the table because there's so many other things that need to
I
be
accept
asked
your
for.
friendly amendment.
Or we can, because we don't have a contract.
I accept your friendly
Okay,
amendment.
Commissioner Wright, do you accept the friendly amendment? I thought you withdrew it. She did, but she didn't. Go ahead.
I do not accept it because I think Commissioner Bolton is right. I think what he's asking for, it's something that we want as a commission. As the major mentioned, the contract is not going to be perfect. Public safety is our number one priority. We got to make sure residents is taken care of. So I second the motion for wanting us to be involved. I know it's an internal issue, which is why I supported the previous motion, but I want to get a contract, and I'm not trying to get in the weeds. I totally understand what you're saying, Commissioner Patterson. You guys engage a consultant. I see the captain all the time. I was at the night out before I came to your event. I engaged with the captain. I met the major's family. So I'm always seeing these gentlemen in the community. I voice my concerns. They're responsive, and they look into it. So a lot of the things, I don't have to sit down with a consultant because I see them. The lieutenant right here, I saw him in my community one time, patrolling the community with a group of people. You guys know I walk around the city. I walk all over the place. People see me walking. So I don't have to get in all that stuff. So those things are in the weeds, and I think we can take care of that. I support your amendment with the changes of us being involved. Let's call a vote, let's move on, and get us the police service in place.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Patterson,
yes.
Mayor Gomez,
No.
Commissioner Bolton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Daniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-1.
All
As
right.
amended, sorry.
Huh?
Motion passes as amended.
Okay. It is 3:20. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a 10-minute break. See you back here at 3:30. 7A, TO 2602. City Attorney, please read the title for the record.
Item 7A, ordinance of City Commission of City of Tamarac, amending Chapter 10, Article 2 of Land Development Code of City of Tamarac entitled Zoning District, specifically amending Section 10-2.8 entitled Qualified Mixed-Use Development pursuant to Live Local Act of 2023 to establish procedures, regulations, and implement Section 166.041 Florida statutes of and Senate Bill 1730, attached here to as Exhibit A, to provide for development regulation and administrative review of certain affordable housing projects pursuant to state law providing for effective date. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take a motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bolton. I have a second by Commissioner Wright. A full presentation on this item was delivered at the Staff Agenda Review Workshop on Monday, the 20th. Deputy City Manager Maxine Callaway is available to answer any questions. In the interim, we will open this for public comments. Anybody wishing to make any comments at this time? Seeing none, public comments are now closed. Discussion by the commission? Well, I'm just going to make a comment. I'm not going to ask Ms. Callaway to come back up. She made a very good presentation on Monday. Basically, this Live Local Act is to make us have to allow certain things against the planned community of our city. And in my opinion, the reduction from 20% to 15% on parking and going into our PD, our whole mix, our local activity center, I do not support this change. I know legislatively I probably have no right to say no, but it doesn't matter to me. I think that this is a feel-good soundbite from the state. I'm on record about it. I have fully support affordable housing. I fully support smart growth and making sure that we are putting people in homes that are not going to be aligned to then be considered discriminatory on their face because we're putting them in an industrial area and not having sufficient services available because it's not the way our city has been planned out. I think that we are trying too hard to force people out of cars when we know very well that when you need to get to your doctor's appointments and all those other things for some of our seniors, they either have aides, they have family, or guess what? They drive. And I think that we are trying to put some of our seniors and our affordable housing population into units that may seem affordable, but after a while will not be considered a quality of life property for some of them, not all of them. But I think that being forced to accept this violates the planning and the opinion and the ability of this commission to do what it needs to do for the betterment of the city, that it knows what it needs. So for some of those reasons and maybe some others, I am putting it right out there. I'm not voting for this. Seeing no one else wishes to speak on this item, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Daniel.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolton is absent. Commissioner Patterson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Gomez.
Nope.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-1.
We're now on 7B, TO 2612. City Attorney, please read the title for the record.
Item 7B, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Tamarac adopting the second budget amendment of the City of Tamarac operating budget, revenues and expenditure, the capital budget, financial policies of the fiscal year 2025 by increasing total revenues and expenditure by a total amount of $5,299,266, providing that the second amendment is being adopted in the same manner as the original budget and serve as a new adopted budget, providing for effective date.
So moved.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to back up a second before we go to the motion that is given by Commissioner Patterson. I apologize, I didn't open public communication or public comments. Did anybody wish to speak on that other item? Seeing none, public comments is now closed and so now we're going, no, I think I just did.
That's the previous item.
I know that was a previous item, but I didn't think I did. Okay, so we've got a motion by Commissioner Patterson.
Second?
Seeing we don't have a second, this item shall fail.
A second.
Second by Vice Mayor Daniel. Full presentation of this item was delivered at the staff agenda review workshop on Monday, the 20th. Our Financial Services Director, Christine Gajus, is available to answer any questions. I will open up public comments on this. Seeing nobody wishing to speak on this item, public comments are now closed. Discussion by the commission. Just so there's no surprise, I will not be voting yes on this, as there are certain items that were not clearly provided to us for reasons why that they were included in here. There was no discussion. It was just put in here. I'm not going to ask you to come forward, Ms. Kajus, to explain it. It's perfectly fine. I'm just not going to approve the budget amendment. Seeing nobody else wishing to speak, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Gomez,
No?
Vice Mayor Daniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
No.
Commissioner Bolton is absent, Commissioner Patterson.
Yes.
Motion fails 2-2.
Thank you. We are now,
Madam Mayor, just give us a second. So Christine, you want to,
Yes, I just wanted to point out that we only have 60 days after the fiscal year to amend the budget, and these items were, most of them were items that were previously approved. So the expenditure has been done. So for us to be legal, we have to appropriate the dollars.
okay, so then in other words, you want to know what's holding me up from being able to approve yes? You can answer yes or no.
no.
Then my answer remains no.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. There were some things, as you just said, were approved.
Yes, they
Previously
were
approved. I will approve everything that was previously presented to the commission and approved. There is one item that was not discussed with us that if I wanted to approve, I have no ability to approve because it was not discussed with us. Huh? The increase in the city attorney's budget. Was that discussed with us?
No, what
Okay.
happened with the city attorney's budget is that we have a contract with the city attorney where there is a flat rate, $50,000 a month, and there is an additional charge for items that are outside of the general scope. These invoices is what caused the budget to increase.
Correct,
And
but it said that it was
the
going
attorney-
up to $60,000 a month, and additional items would be added. But what services are being added? Why, if this is a contract, it's over
There are-
$65,000, we're not being able to discuss it?
There are litigation, and there are items that comes in monthly. There are litigations and other items that are billed monthly as they occur.
And in the
And the
previous
city attorney's
contracts,
right there.
previous city attorney contracts,
It was
Madam
the
Mayor,
same.
that number was a much, much higher number.
I don't care.
And it's-
It
it's a-
wasn't
it's a common
discussed. If
practice.
it would
It's a-
have come before us, it would be transparent, open and obvious, and there'd be no issue. However, it's not discussed, it's just thrown into a quick line item in the middle of a presentation on Monday, which we then see in our books, or some of us may have seen it on Friday, but it's not discussed. We talk about transparency, we talk about putting everything out so everybody can approve it and discuss it. We talk about making sure that we could be the neck for the city manager to move its head, but we don't think about doing this for the city attorney's office? I understand where his budget might have gone up, I get it. And maybe putting new services in there and making it $60,000 would be a financial benefit to the city because we wouldn't have all these additional invoices. Yet it wasn't presented to us. It was just thrown on in here.
But
I have a problem with that.
We need a motion reconsideration if it's going to be discussed again.
I'll call back, because I was on the prevailing side, I can call back.
Yeah, yes.
I'll call back the item. Anything in there with salary raises or I didn't,
No, there's no personnel.
motion to reconsider, sorry, motion to reconsider.
Need a second.
A motion to reconsider by Commissioner Wright, a second by Commissioner Patterson.
Okay, what are we doing? I'm so sorry, I had
It was the budget
emergency call.
I have to call the motion to reconsider, and then we can discuss the motion.
Please,
Okay,
Commissioner
what are we
Bolton?
considering?
the budget amendment passing or not. 7B. You were not here, it was a fail, 2-2. And now there's a motion for reconsideration, and it was by Commissioner Wright,
If if it's a motion for reconsideration, it failed 2-2.
No, the motion for reconsideration did not yet go.
No, I'm saying if the original vote was 2-2, there's no prevailing side.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Still, but again, as a fail, anybody can call the motion for reconsideration. Okay? Okay.
It's still a tie, it doesn't work.
Go ahead.
But anyway, whatever. City Clerk, please call the roll. I don't.
Vice Mayor Daniel,
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson,
Yes.
Mayor Gomez,
No.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolton.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion to reconsider passes 4-1.
All right.
Point
Now I
of
need a-
clarification, Madam Mayor, on 7A, I think that was the Live Local Act, Florida Statutes 286.012 declares that I have to vote on an item, so I don't
Not
want
if you're
that.
not in the room, you do not, and we do not go backwards.
Florida Statutes 286.012
Commissioner Bolton. Commissioner Bolton.
City Attorney,
demands that I vote, so
City Attorney.
I'm sorry I
The
had
item
an
has
emergency call.
passed, and if there's no requirement, if you have to use a bathroom, you have emergency calls, there's no requirement that we have a revote.
Well, I'm also announcing that I have a flight to catch, so,
Okay.
you know,
Okay,
let's move quickly.
let's go. Need a motion and second on this item.
7B TO 2612. Seeing no motion, item fails. Next.
No,
No, we don't, that was a motion for reconsideration.
We already voted on reconsideration. We just voted on
Exactly. No, but now we gotta are you bringing back the item or not?
yes, the item was brought back, now is a
So-
vote on this item now. The motion consideration passed.
Right, but then
So we're
in the
discussing
past, we
7B
needed
again.
to
Correct,
have a
correct.
second motion.
For
that's separate
approval
From the
or-
motion for consideration. The second motion on is whether or not this ordinance will go through. Do I have a motion and a second, take two?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bolton. I have a second by Commissioner Patterson on take two of TO 2612. Am I bringing back public comments now? Because public comments, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, public comments are now closed. Commissioner Bolton, you wish to speak on this item?
No, I'm just ready to vote. I have a flight to catch.
Okay.
Just quick.
Commissioner Wright?
Anything, any increase for city commissioners, any,
Not in this budget amendment, no,
not in this amendment?
no.
Okay, I didn't remember seeing anything. I just wanted to clarify that so I kind of voted no, just, okay. And you said we needed 60 days just to,
Yes, so
in
this
terms
is-
of
this is the
continuity
first-
of government.
Yes, this is the first reading, and then the second reading will be on November 12th.
Maybe in the second reading, we'll have all the backup that made the decision to increase.
If you require all the invoices for the city attorney, I can provide that.
If we've been given all other items to be able to make an educated decision that we want to increase, decrease,
No,
or change.
you don't have your cake and eat it too.
Everything else?
You don't have
Okay.
your cake and eat it too. When I asked for the same thing, you rejected. So this is now,
No.
this is now my opportunity to stick with your
actually-
hearts. Call the question, please.
Actually,
I need
just
to
because you
go.
have a flight.
No.
Commissioner
The
Bolton,
last time I asked for
behavior.
invoices, you were
I
going
didn't-
crazy. So let me go crazy now.
Well, you're-
You,
well,
you want to talk for an
Commissioner-
hour? Go ahead.
Commissioner Bolton,
Because it's your beloved community that will suffer. So go ahead, talk for an hour.
you're going to
'Cause
make
I'm-
my community suffer anyway.
Yeah, talk for an
Anyway.
hour, because I'm gonna walk out in an hour. Talk for an
Okay.
hour. Go ahead.
Oh, dear Lord. Ms. Kajus,
Yes.
there had to have been a memo or something that gave rationale and reason to increasing the city attorney's budget. I would like it in our backup. I would like to see it beforehand.
There's no increase in the budget. This is based on a contract which provide
going-
our firm with the ability to build on litigation, real estate matters. There's no rationale needed. The contract provide our firm with that ability. It was, as Mr. Manager indicated, the previous firm is the same contract. In fact, billed way more than me. So I don't know the issue.
I just
Well,
wanna-
precisely, I
just
can't
wa-
tell you what it is because I was not given the opportunity to be able to read what's going on.
I
And
just
I'm
wa-
entitled, as a person who's going to vote on this budget amendment, to know the status of things, so I can make an educated decision. If the rest of the commission does not wish to see it, that is up to them to not read it.
So there's no memorandum on that because those are invoiced, and those are ad hoc invoice that we don't know what is going to occur until the matter occurs and we're invoiced for it. So I can provide you with those invoices, but there is no memorandum per se that increased the budget. When it happens, we have to pay because the services were incurred.
So basically, it increases funding for the legal services of general counsel charged and expended in FY 2025 that exceeded the city attorney adopted budget.
Yes.
So we pay at 50,000, it says 60,000. There's a change there.
I'm sorry?
Anyway,
So.
I'll call the question because people want to go.
Right.
You know what I need?
Yes.
And I'll seek it.
And I'll provide it to you.
And then I'll maybe make a different decision in November. But for right now, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Patterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Daniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolton?
Yes.
Mayor Gomez?
No.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-1.
All right, we are now racing to item 8A. We are on ordinances on second reading. It is TO 2611. City Attorney, read for the record, please.
Item 8A, ordinance of City of Tamarac, amending section 10-5.7 entitled New Development Impact Fees of Chapter 10 of City of Tamarac Code, adopting the City of Tamarac Impact Fee Study, amending the impact fee schedule and land use categories, providing for an increase to the current impact fee of 25% for government facilities, park, recreation facilities, and multimodal transportation. Reestablish criteria, administrative procedure for assessment and collection of impact fees, provide for update, guidelines for the phasing of impact fees increase, processing of refunds, credits, fair share agreements related to the city impact program, providing for notice and implementation, providing for codification, providing for effective date.
Thank you. I'll take a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bolton. I have a second by Commissioner Wright. A full presentation on this item was delivered by the consultant, Carson Beese, on first reading at the October 8th meeting. Ms. Callaway, our Deputy City Manager, is available for any questions. Now we're going to open up public comments. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, public comments are now closed. Discussion by the commission? Seeing none, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Bolton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Daniel?
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson?
Yes.
Mayor Gomez?
Yes?
Commissioner Wright?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And I think what most people have been waiting for, we're up to our
Allow for a lot coverage max roof area of 53.2% in Part A and F, 53% in Part G, and 46.8% in Part H versus 44% allowed pursuant to Administrative Adjustment Development Approval Order may not explain other evidence, but it should not be sufficient by itself to support a finding. Statements or attorneys should be considered only as arguments, not considered as testimony. The city commissioners will have authority. The city commissioners will have authority to refuse to hear any testimony which is irrelevant. Documentary evidence may be present in the form of copy or original. Upon request, the parties should be given opportunity to persons who are in support or in opposition can provide testimony or statements at this point.
I've spoken to some residents and,
I've spoken to residents, sorry.
that's good. Spoken to some residents, and I received a response back to when I complained about trees, a text back after the things were put up.
Lieberman today in my office.
Yeah, point of clarification, I too did speak with a resident. I apologize.
No worries, it's all good. We're now going to ask the city clerk to swear in the witnesses.
All witnesses for this item, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I don't want to hold the item up.
Okay, do I have a motion and a second?
So move. So move.
Second. So, starting over.
Please, can I have the Commissioner Wright moving the motion, I'm sorry, and who was the second?
Myself.
Thank you.
I'd like just to add on the record that it is illegal for the mayor to make motions or second motions.
It's not illegal.
It is. You're the chair.
It's not illegal. We've been through this.
For the presentation to load. But for the record, Christina Belenke, Miskell Backman. My address is 14 Southeast 4th Street in Boca Raton. Backman. My address is 14 Southeast 4th Street in Boca Raton, and it is a pleasure to be here this afternoon on behalf of 13th Floor with their variance request. Everybody, I think, is very familiar with this project, with models that we are proposing. They are all in line with the mid-century modern architecture that is within the Woodlands community now, and also as required per the development agreement. So this is a one-story model, Model 1A, and you have an alternate elevation for each of the models. So this is Model 1B. So when you factor in all of the different models, all of the different elevations, there's kind of over 200 options that could be put on the 335 lots throughout the community. So it really prevents kind of having that same model look on every single lot. It adds a lot of variety, and again, better product for the Woodlands community. Here you have Model 13A, that's one of the two-story products that would be permitted within Pod G only. And here again, you have the alternate elevation for that model. So that's just a sampling of the different models that we are proposing. Again, we are here for lot coverage. So what does that mean? So lot coverage is the portion of the lot covered by both the principal and accessory uses. So it's not just the house itself, but any kind of covered patio area, garage space, all of that is also included in your lot coverage calculation. So we are requesting a variance to go beyond the 44% previously approved. And here we have a breakdown of what it would be per pod. Now, this is the absolute maximum per lot. It doesn't mean all of the lots would be developed at 54.9%. But if you're taking the largest home with all of the options and putting it on one of the smaller lots within that pod, you would get to that 54.9%. If a buyer chooses not to have certain options or for a smaller model, they might be within that 44% maximum lot coverage otherwise required. And so here we have a couple renderings just showing kind of the spacing between homes, because I know that was something that was raised during a prior meeting. The setbacks themselves are not changing. The setbacks are what they've been approved. We have 7 feet between the homes, or 7 feet on each side of the home, so 14 feet between the homes total. This lot coverage variance does not impact the spacing between the homes. That does not change. Here you have the two-story products, again, showing kind of that spacing between the homes. You have 2 different elevation looks. So again, providing some variety. And this is not the first time a lot coverage variance has been approved for golf course redevelopments or communities within the City of Tamarac. It has been requested on similar projects before. For example, the Woodmont Country Club, when Pulte was coming through with their development, they were approved for a variance of a maximum lot coverage of 54.9%. And other communities have also been approved in the 50% range for similar zoned properties. Here you have the Pulte homes, just to show you again what it looks like once actually constructed. In this instance, their side yards or side setbacks are smaller than what we have, but you can see they have 10 feet between the homes. Still beautiful product, not really impacting the visuals from the front, because a lot of the space, a lot of the additional lot coverage is kind of in those rear amenities, specifically with the covered patios. And here, this is just kind of depicting graphically the new architecture, the number of bedrooms and homes. In the staff report, actually, it notes that the previous models had up to 4 bedrooms. We checked that in our team after the planning board meeting, because there was differing opinions, and we wanted to make sure, and we did provide for 5-bedroom units in the previously approved architecture. Going back into our presentations, we referenced those 5-bedroom units. So we're not providing any more units than what was previously approved. You can still have up to 5 bedrooms, both with the prior architecture and the proposed. What we are adding is the third car garage. Previously, we had 2-car garages. Now we have the ability to have a third car. We know parking in the swale is an issue. So we're hoping to provide that option to help alleviate that. And then again, all models will include that covered patio, and that is impacting the lot coverage calculation. This just shows you the previous architecture versus current. Again, the bedroom mix, there were a couple of models with 5 bedrooms, similar to what's being proposed now. And then this project has numerous benefits for the city. Again, we're trying to provide a benefit by adding more models, adding better amenities, adding to the square footage, and providing those covered patios. But in addition to that, over $2 million in annual revenue that will come to the city as a result of this project, over $7 million in one-time revenues, improvements to the street network within the existing Woodlands community. And again, just referencing back to the development agreement, in terms of some of those improvements, we have $150,000 set aside for the south side of Woodlands, along with the north side, to provide traffic improvements, traffic calming measures after the project is built out and a traffic study is done to see kind of what additional accommodations can be made. We are also making significant improvements to the drainage system. Again, we're providing 160 acres of open space within this community. So we're going to be improving the drainage system from what's already there. And this will increase the property values within the city and add to the city's tax base. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions you may have this afternoon, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Before we go to the commission, we're going to open it up for public comments. I do know that Eileen Lieberman has signed in. Would you like to speak? And then Commissioner Grant? Mayor Grant, Commissioner Lewis. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on this item? Commissioner Dunn, you'll just be sworn in prior to.
Eileen Lieberman, President of Section 4 in the Woodlands, 4809 Woodlands Boulevard. I'm here today to ask you on behalf of the community to deny this variance. This is not what the community told it was getting when 13th floor met with the community. Interestingly, the applicant's presentation and the backup are different. In the backup, the applicant is saying it's going to have five-bedroom models. 5 of 14. That will generate additional traffic on Woodlands Boulevard, on the surrounding streets, as well as on Commercial Boulevard and some of the traffic ways there. The reason that's an issue is because staff says to you in the backup that the county has a project to ameliorate the impact of these close to 1,000 additional trips per day in this area. What the county is doing is simply synchronizing traffic lights and adding bike paths. I am unaware of where synchronizing traffic lights and where bike paths add capacity to the roadway. It now takes most of our residents 3 traffic lights to get out of the Woodlands in the morning due to the current situation. This is their second request for a variance. You should know that the planning board did not vote to approve this variance. And they didn't vote to approve it because, first of all, they got a variance in 2023, just shortly after they met with the community, reducing the minimum size lot from 6,000 square feet to 5,400 square feet. Then they also got a variance to reduce the side setbacks to 6.75 feet, not the 7 feet that you're seeing there. They also got a variance to allow for 44% of lot coverage. So that was their first bite at the apple. Now they have a second bite at the apple, which would put McMansions on the lots in the woodlands. If you know anything about the woodlands, McMansions are not compatible with the woodlands. Our board, our Section 4 board, voted unanimously to oppose this variance and ask that you keep the developer to its original promises. We don't need to have additional traffic on our roadways. It's bad enough as it is. And I heard all of your concerns when the presentation was made. It will only be worse. I also ask that you take a look at how this is decreasing the pervious area surrounding each home. You don't want to do that. The impervious area is increasing, and that doesn't even include some of the other ports that they want to build, such as patios and overhangs, which they could do now, by the way, on the current size lot, which
Mayor Grant?
Denise Grant, Mayor of the City of Lauderhill, and I am representing today, of course, as it relates to the city. Mayor, commissioners, and charter members, good afternoon. It is quite refreshing to know that your meetings are just as spirited as the meetings in the City of Lauderhill. It was really nice being here, and indeed, I have also learned a lot. And so today I am here to talk about the impact that this particular project is making on 64th Avenue, which indeed will affect our community, and specifically the Cypress Hollow community and the Forest Lakes community. And we are very much aware that this has been an ongoing issue. And we've had many conversations. And I will tell you that our residents have been very consistent with opposing this project. Nevertheless, we understand that the item that is being discussed today is simply about property coverage. And indeed, that is your jurisdiction, and you have to make the decisions accordingly. But for me, I am talking about the safety issues and the quality of life issues that I am hearing that will affect our residents. And they're very much concerned about the narrow roadways, the traffic impact that it would have on our residents. And so as a result of that, I am here today to simply request a meeting with the developers and perhaps the city manager as well, to sit down and to talk and to see if there's any form of negotiation that can be ensued, considering the fact that many things have already been passed, and we're probably at the 11th hour, because the project will go forward, but we would like for both cities to be able to benefit in a positive way. And so I am here simply for that. Thank you so much for your time. I have sat here for about 5 hours to take 3 minutes to have this discussion, but it has been very good to see all of my colleagues at play. Thank you kindly.
Thank you for your wonderful descriptions of our commission meeting. Commissioner Lewis. And at play. And at play. Commissioner.
May I am Vice Mayor Ray Martin for the City of Lauderhill, and I want to thank my mayor for coming out and speaking on behalf of our residents, as well as one of our other colleagues here is Commissioner Melissa Dunn. I want to just be very brief and very short, because I think we all are getting to the same thing, and that's simply just coming to the table and communicating our interests and making sure that they're aligned for our residents. So I just want to, we had to come today publicly because our residents were concerned, and we knew that this item was not specifically regarding 64th, but it was an opportunity to show our residents that we are continuing to work together. And I'd like to just point out something in the developer agreement so that our residents are aware of kind of what's going on. In our developer agreement, and let me preface this with, the residents just have concerns about the traffic, egress, ingress, the medical response, school buses, and for those concerns, they have to be mitigated before we give a permit. And so I just want to let the residents know that in the developer agreement, the developer further acknowledges that the city owns the east half and the northwest 64th Avenue right-of-way adjacent to the property. And the west half of the northwest 64th Avenue right-of-way is owned by the City of Lauderhill. The developer shall, to the extent possible, construct the improvements to the northwest 64th Avenue right-of-way as identified in a previous exhibit, that it will include turning lanes, curbing, et cetera, et cetera. But all of these